All right, everybody. So welcome to Yoga Today. Grateful to see you all. And today's practice will be both fiery and filled with balance poses, but also woven in with a sense of stability. So I feel like we all need a sense of stability more than ever because this world has been, well, unstable is the best word I can think of to describe how 2020 has been and how many of our lives have changed, and the responses that we might feel to the political situation, to all of the things that are going on in the world, not to mention COVID and being in a pandemic, and how the ground has felt shaky for many of us. The ground has felt shaky. So focusing on stability is one way to settle our nervous systems. And we'll start on our backs today. We'll start on our backs. And so bridge pose is a very stable, grounded pose. Before we come to bridge, we'll simply bend the knees and place the feet flat and make sure that our feet are at hip distance. Feet are at hip distance. So you might touch your heels. Yeah. Great. And then one hand on the belly and one hand on the heart to begin. And we'll just notice where our breath resides without changing anything at all. Just notice the quality of the breath. Notice the texture of the breath. And by that, I mean, is your breath choppy? Is your breath smooth? Is your breath short, shallow? Is it deep? Do you feel it in your chest, or maybe not even your chest? Is it in your throat? Or do you feel it in your belly? Does the breath feel warm or cool? Dry or moist? And just notice. And as you become aware of your breath, notice what that does for your nervous system, for your mind. Is this the first time today you've had an opportunity to even think about your breath? And then we'll begin to isolate the breath in the belly. Inhale, belly rises, pause. Exhale, belly falls, pause. Several more times that way. We can let go of Ujjayi, just feeling inhale, belly rises, pause. Exhale, belly falls, pause. And then adding on, inhale, belly rises, pause. Inhale, more breath up into the chest, pause. And then exhale in one long exhale. Inhale into two parts. Exhale in one long part. And if you can, notice the pauses. Inhale, belly, pause. Inhale, chest, pause. Exhale, and pause. And then one more to this three-part breath. Inhale, belly, pause. Inhale, chest, pause. Inhale, more breath up into your throat, pause. Exhale in one long exhale and feel the pause at the end of the exhale. Inhale is three parts. Exhale is one long part. When that feels a little bit more natural focus on the pause. And then release with your palms here on your heart and your belly, 3 ohms. Ah. All right, my dears, release your hands, bridge pose, bridge pose. So maybe you lift your hips and you begin to walk your shoulders underneath you. You might interlace the fingers behind your back and see what works. And then allow your toes to point straight forward in bridge pose. So most likely our toes are pointing a little out. So draw your toes in or your heels a little bit wider. And then allow your knees to have, they're placed right above the ankle. So there might be a slight inner thigh engagement. So the knees drop, yes, Kanti, great. And then notice your breath here. And then slowly coming down from your bridge pose, interlace your fingers behind your head. Place a block or a pillow between your thighs. Allow your thighs to come up to the sky. So toes point up to the sky. And then curl head, neck, and shoulders up. Keep your head there. Squeeze the block and try lifting your tail. Inhale, let everything relax down toward the earth. Exhale, squeeze and lift the tail. Great. Inhale, relax. Exhale, squeeze and lift the tail. 3 more. Inhale, relax a little. Exhale, squeeze and lift the tail. Inhale, relax a little. Exhale, squeeze and lift the tail. Last one. Inhale, relax a little. Exhale, squeeze, lift the tail, hold, pause, draw the belly in if you can. Breath is going to be shallow. You're still breathing. It's up in the throat or the chest. Notice that. Widen your elbows and come down. Keep the block where it is. Plant your feet. Bridge pose with a block. Bridge pose with the block. So you might not come up as much as you would without the block, but feel the squeeze of the inner thighs. Feel the stability and the connection and the support that engaging the front line and the midline of the body can give to the low back and the SI joint. One more deep breath in. Long breath out. Bring your butt down, lift your legs back up, but keep your knees bent. Hands are behind the head. Squeeze that block. Inhale, curl head, neck, and shoulders up. On the exhale, right elbow toward left knee. And then come back to center and switch sides. Come back to center and switch sides. So notice the difference between we're not straightening that one leg like we often do here. Squeeze the block instead. Squeeze the block. Yeah, great. So 5 and 4 and 3 and 2 and 1 and rest. Bring your feet down, bridge pose with the block, bridge pose with the block. And this time, see if you can interlace your fingers behind your tail or maybe grab the edges of your mat. Let's set the feet. So again, heels a little bit wider than the toes, like a millimeter wider than the toes. Inner thighs, squeeze the block. You should feel your inner thighs by this point, yeah? Feeling your inner thighs. What happens to your breath when you start to feel sensation in the inner thighs? Notice that. Great, and then we'll release the butt back down, remove the block, come up and over onto hands and knees. As you come up and over onto hands and knees, set your shoulders and your wrists, and then begin to pull the wrists back toward the knees. And of course, they're not going to move anywhere because you're on a sticky mat, but you're going to fire up all those muscles right here, the muscles, the lats, the serratus anterior. Draw the belly in and up. And just notice how this can be super fiery. It doesn't look like we're doing much of anything. But if you're really engaging and you're bringing your knees towards your wrists towards your knees, you might even shake. So you can stay right here, or you can lift your knees an inch or two off the ground and still pull, still draw the heels of the hands toward the knees toward the heels of the hands, the belly in. And so that strong belly, yes, Kanti, beautiful. Shoulders away from the ears, engagement in the side body, and downward facing dog. You might pedal, you might sway. And take a deep breath in and a long breath out. Reach your right leg to the sky. Draw the right knee in toward your belly, chest, or nose. Hover forward. Stay there. Now, with a pretty stable pelvis, take the knee slightly to the left, slightly to the right. Nice. Slightly left, slightly right. So awesome. Do that a few more times. And so what you might want to do is kind of wildly swing your hips about, but we're going to keep it real stable. So the movement is very small, but it should feel potent and in the core. Is that true? Yep. Lift that right leg all the way back up. This time, bend the knee and spin the hip open and stay a few breaths there. So notice the difference between that stability, that gathering in, that strengthening, and then opening up into more flexibility. How can we be in both so we're not exploiting flexibility? You know? And then draw that knee all the way toward the left arm, and we're going to hover there. Now the left knee goes toward, or the right knee goes toward the left wrist, and then toward the armpit, toward the wrist, toward the armpit, toward the wrist, toward the armpit. Lift the leg back up, bend the knee, spin the hip open, a few breaths there. And just notice too, what is there craving or aversion? Do you like one part of this better than the other? Is it easier to stay here, or do you like that strengthening? What do you notice in your own being? Then take that right knee toward the right arm, and then toward the wrist and the armpit and the wrist and the armpit and the wrist and the armpit, and lift the leg back up and bend the knee and spin the hip open. And a couple breaths here. And then draw that knee in as close to your face as you can. For some of us, that's belly. For some of us, that's chest. But we'll round the back a little bit like cat. And then see if you can step that foot forward between your hands. Dip the hips, lift the heart, draw your right hip back, and then straighten that right leg best you can, bowing toward it. Let your back round a little like cat here. Stay for an inhale, and then bend the knee and lift the heart, so kind of a cow shape to the back. One more breath in, and then step forward and fold, step forward and fold. So your forward fold could have feet at hip distance, or your feet could be together. It's up to you. We'll grab opposite elbows and maybe sway just a little bit here. Stay a couple breaths. And great. And then releasing that chair pose. So if you like feet together, great. If you like feet at hip distance, great. We're going to bring the weight back into our heels. So you might lift the toes you have, yeah? And then draw the ribs in, the front ribs in, so you feel the low back lengthening, even though we're not tucking the tail. So our low back has its natural curve, yeah? We'll inhale here. Exhale, fold forward over your legs. Inhale, halfway lift. Step back to plank. And then lower onto your forearms. So we're going to hold forearm plank. So of course you can put your knees down, and that still is a powerful place to be. My invitation is, remember how we were drawing the heels of the hands back? Imagine that now with your elbows, drawing your elbows back just a little bit, drawing the belly in. And the other invitation is, if your knees are lifted, let them bend and let your legs relax for a second and see if you can bring it into the core. Like all of a sudden the belly has to really work hard. If you could keep the belly like that, then straighten the legs and push through the heels, great. If you find your legs doing more of the work or your shoulders, bend your knees again. Yeah, so we'll stay for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Dolphin pose. Walk your feet forward, your hips high. Feet forward, hips high. Take 5 breaths there. Notice your shoulders here, what you're feeling. It's always okay to bend the knees slightly here and get the sitting bones lifted. And then one at a time, or if you can do it both together, push into your palms, lift your elbows downward facing dog. Left leg lifts. Draw your left knee in toward your belly, your chest, or even your nose. Hover forward, a little bit of a cat back here. Take the knee very slightly to the left and slightly to the right and slightly left and slightly right, keeping the pelvis mostly stable. Again, slightly left, slightly right, slightly left, slightly right. Lift the leg back up, bend the knee and spin the hip open. Take a few breaths there, feeling into the flexibility, stability and flexibility. What is your body more drawn to? And if your body is drawn to one thing, is that really what you need? Or are we already flexible and we're drawn to flexibility? Just notice. And then take that left knee across towards your right arm. Hover there and take the knee up toward the armpit and then down toward the wrist, and up toward the armpit and down toward the wrist, up toward the armpit, down toward the wrist, up toward the armpit, lift the leg all the way back up, bend the knee and spin the hip open for a few breaths. And then left knee toward the left arm, and up toward the armpit and down toward the wrist, up toward the armpit, down toward the wrist, up toward the armpit, down toward the wrist, up toward the armpit, lift the leg up, bend the knee, spin the hip open. Stay there, pause. And then draw that knee right in toward your belly, chest, or nose. Hover, kind of a round back, kind of a cat spine. Belly draws in. Step the foot forward between the hands. Dip the hips and lift the heart, breathe in. And then straighten the leg, a bit of a cat back. Stay for an inhale. Bend that left knee, look forward, breathe in. Step forward and fold. Again, feet could be at hip distance. You could interlace the fingers behind your back or grab opposite elbows, whatever feels useful right now. Couple breaths here. Release, chair pose. So feet could be hip distance or together. Also, if you're used to one thing, maybe try the other. Just notice, like if you're used to your feet always together, what would it feel like if they were at hip distance? If you're used to hip distance, what would it feel like if they came a little closer together? Yeah, just notice. Drop the butt toward the earth, lift the heart toward the sky, and draw the front ribs in. Inhale here. Exhale, fold forward over your legs. Inhale, halfway lift. Step back to plank. Come down to your forearms, forearm plank. And again, of course, knees can be down. We're going to try to stay and feel that stability by drawing the elbows a little bit toward the feet. Imagining the feet going a little bit toward the elbows and the belly drawing in and up and feeling the whole side body engage. Lift the hips high, dolphin pose, walk your feet forward, few breaths there. Push into both palms at the same time or one each. Lift the elbows. Take a deep breath in and a long breath out. Shift high on the balls of the feet. Bend your knees. Walk or try to hop light to the top of the mat. Nice. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, chair pose. Palms to your heart. Twist to your right, but stay up high. Great. Just bring your wrists to the outside of that right knee. So this is a chair pose to stabilize the low back. Yeah. Inhale here. Exhale, butt goes down. Inhale, arms go up. Exhale, palms to the heart. Twist to the left, but stay up high. And maybe the wrists come to the outside of that left knee. And sink the butt. Inhale, arms reach up. Exhale, forward fold over your legs. Inhale, halfway lift. Plank pose. Come onto your right side for side plank. Could be on hands or forearms, either way. So side plank on forearms, woo, that's the real deal. Yeah, that's the real deal. So if you've got your palm down, that's great, right? Draw the front of your ribs in. Try to keep the top hip from falling back. It's going to want to. Take a deep breath in. Come back to plank. Could be forearm or regular plank. Come onto the left side for side plank. Could be on forearms or palms. Draw the front of the ribs in. Try to keep the right hip from falling back. And still spin the heart up the best you can. Awesome. Take a deep breath in. Come back to plank. Shift forward onto your toes. Chaturanga. Cobra or up dog. Downward facing dog. 3 breaths. Walk or hop to the top. Halfway lift, inhale. Forward fold, exhale. Chair pose, inhale. Palms to the heart. Twist to the right. Maybe your wrists or maybe your forearms come outside that right knee, or maybe even the left elbow. See what works. Take a deep breath in. Come back chair. Inhale here. Palms to the heart. Twist to the left. Maybe it's wrist. Maybe it's forearm. Maybe it's the right elbow outside the left knee. Drawing the belly in, weight in the heels. Deep breath in. Long breath out. Chair pose. Inhale. Fold forward over your legs. Halfway lift, inhale. Chaturanga, or you could hold plank. Cobra or up dog, inhale. Downward facing dog. Right leg goes high. Draw the knee in toward your belly, chest, or nose. Hover forward, step the foot forward, dip the hips, lift the heart, breathe in. Straighten the leg, breathe out. Stay for an inhale. Bend that front knee, come up, crescent lunge. Draw your right hip back and scissor your legs slightly back, knee bent just a little if you can. Slightly feel like you're tucking your tail. Draw the front ribs in, lift the heart up, and then begin to straighten that back leg as best you can, pushing through the heel as best you can. Keep drawing the right hip back. Inhale here, twist high, left arm in front. You might stay here or bring your palms together. It might be your left wrist, forearm, or elbow that goes outside that right knee. And if that doesn't work, maybe your hand is to the inside of that right foot. You might open your arms high to low, taking a couple breaths here, noticing the action of the belly drawing in and up on the exhale. Great, frame your front foot, plank. Onto your left side, side plank. Take a deep breath in. Back to plank. Onto your right side, side plank. Take a deep breath in. Back to plank. Shift forward on your toes. Chaturanga, knees could be down. Cobra or upward facing dog, inhale. Downward facing dog, exhale. Lift your left leg up. Draw the knee in towards your belly, chest, or nose. Hover forward. Get that round to your back. Step the foot forward between the hands. Dip the hips. Lift the heart. Inhale. Straighten the leg. Exhale. Stay for an inhale here. Bend the knee. Come up, crescent lunge. As you do, bend the back knee if that's possible for your body. Draw your left hip back and start to scissor the legs back to front. And then slightly tuck your tail. Draw the ribs and belly in, lift through the heart, then begin to straighten that right leg and push through the heel. Best you can, great. And then twist high. The right arm comes in front where you might stay with your arms like a T. Or you might bring your right wrist, forearm, or elbow outside the left knee. And then you might, from there, open your arms high to low. You could always have your right hand to the inside of the left foot too, if this is too much. Take a deep breath in. Frame the front foot, plank pose. Onto the right side, Vashisthasana, side plank. Inhale here. Back to plank pose. Onto the left side, Vashisthasana. Deep breath in. Back to plank. Shift forward onto your toes. Inhale. Chaturanga, exhale. Cobra or up dog, inhale. Downward facing dog. Notice how you feel. And where's your breath now? Does your breath feel like it's in your belly, in your chest, in your throat? Does it feel rapid? Does it feel smooth? Notice. Walk or hop to the top. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Chair pose. Palms to the heart. Twist to the right. And then as you find your twisted chair here, you might open your arms high to low. You might take your right hand behind your back. You might be able to touch your hip. You might be able to touch your thigh. If you can touch either the hip or thigh, imagine drawing it slightly back and then spin your heart open. Inhale here. Exhale, fold forward over your legs. Chair pose, breathe in. Twist to the left. Find your twist that works for your body. And then you might open your arms high to low. The left hand might come behind your back. You might be able to grab your hip or your waist or even your thigh. If you can grab any of that, think of drawing it back slightly and then spinning the heart up, stacking the shoulders open. So you might be using the 2 points of both arm and hand to stabilize as you open the heart toward the sky. Take another deep breath in. Fold forward over your legs. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, chaturanga, chaturanga dandasana. Cobra or up dog, breathe in. Downward facing dog. Right leg goes high. Draw the knee in toward your belly, chest or nose. Come up, put the foot down, come up, crescent lunge. And then this time, arms out to either side. Left arm goes under, eagle arms. So for a moment, can you bring your elbows away from your chest and your fingertips high? And feel into a slight back bend here, but still stability at the foundation. Yeah. And then see if you can step that left leg up and over to eagle pose. Left leg up and over, eagle pose. Great. And again, elbows away from the chest and fingertips high. And so how can we still be in that chair pose, but like a one-legged chair, squeezing the legs together, elbows slowly make their way towards your knees, drawing your belly in and up, humble eagle. Looking forward, can the elbows touch the knees? So feeling that round to the spine, drawing your belly in and up, flying that left leg back for warrior 3 leg with eagle arms, warrior 3 leg with eagle arms. Now, can the outer left hip come down? The outer right hip draw back. Take another deep breath in. Land back to that crescent feet with eagle arms and taking it into the back bend. Great. Inhale, release your arms up. Exhale, plank. Left side, side plank. And deep breath in. Back to plank. Right side, side plank. Deep breath in. Back to plank. Shift forward onto your toes. Inhale. Chaturanga. Knees could always be down. Cobra or up dog. Downward facing dog. Left leg lift. Draw the knee in towards your face. Set the foot down, come up, crescent lunge. Find the pose, draw the front ribs in. Arms open to either side. Right arm goes under, eagle arms, right arm under. Elbows away from the chest, fingertips high. Feeling into a bit of a back bend here. Can we still scissor the legs? Can we feel a strong foundation? And then step that right foot, perhaps up and over into eagle pose. And the elbows away from the chest, fingertips high. And then slowly begin to bring the elbows toward the knees in humble eagle. Maybe the elbows can touch the knees. Squeezing the legs together. There is a bit of a round to the back here. Breathe into the back of the heart. And then fly the right leg back, warrior 3 leg, and begin to lift the heart. So now it's more of a cow shape, right? And then right outer hip goes down. Left outer hip draws back. Inhale here. Lands that back foot down into crescent again with your eagle arms. And feeling the elbows move away from the chest, fingertips high. Take a deep breath in. Long breath out. Inhale, release your arms up to the sky. Exhale, plank pose. Onto your right side for side plank. Deep breath in. Back to plank. Onto the left side, side plank. Deep breath in. Back to plank. Inhale, shift forward onto your toes. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, cobra or up dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Few breaths. Shift high on the balls of the feet, bend your knees, walk or hop to the top. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Chair pose. Palms to the heart. Twist to the right where you might stay. You might open your arms high to low, or you might have side crow. Wherever you are, no place to get, nowhere to go. Side crow, you can build the shelf or not. Yeah. When you're ready, back through center, fold forward over your legs. Deep breath in, long breath out. Chair pose. Twist to the left where you might stay. You might open your arms high to low, or you might play with side crow on this side, side crow, where you could build the shelf, or you could keep the hip free. Back to center, everybody fold forward over your legs. Take a deep breath in. Long breath out. Chair pose. Arms open to either side, right arm under, right leg over, eagle. Elbows toward your knees. Fly the right leg back, warrior three. Now, can you lift your chest even higher and open to half moon with eagle arms? Open to half moon with eagle arms. I know it's really challenging. If it doesn't work out, it's okay. It's okay. Take a deep breath in. And then you're going to land back, warrior two legs with eagle arms. Humble warrior with eagle arms. Humble warrior with eagle arms. So we're encouraging the left knee inside the left thigh. So if you're kind of bendy like me and your elbows could go right to the floor, instead squeeze your shoulder against your knee against the shoulder will strengthen that inner hip, yeah? So we can focus both on the strengthening of this pose or the flexibility, believe it or not. Yeah, it seems like a real flexible pose. I know for me, I can exploit my joints, go all the way to the floor, and then feel like I can't walk the next day. So not useful, right? So instead, you might be working on the strengthening version of this. 3 more breaths, wherever you are, 3 more breaths. Release your hands, frame the front foot, plank pose. Onto your right side for side plank, and this time you might lift that left leg up and bring it to tree pose. Believe it or not, sometimes that's a little bit easier than side plank without the tree leg. Just see if you think so. That's just my body. It might not be true for you. Try to draw the ribs in. Try to keep that top hip from falling way back. You can fall back a little. Keep the knee opening. You can either release it or tree chaturanga. You can release it or tree up dog, and then down dog, all fours. Down dog, all fours. Take a couple deep breaths here. Shift high on the balls of the feet, bend your knees. Walk or hop to the top. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Chair pose. Arms open to either side. Left arm under. Left leg up and over for eagle. And then the elbows start to come toward the knees. We'll fly that left leg back and lift the heart a lot. Yes, gorgeous. And then we'll begin to open into half moon. So we're rotating on that right hip, asking a lot of that right hip. So it's better if you're up higher, yeah? The right glutes really engage here. So good, so good. You might be staring at one point that's not moving. And then land back warrior two with eagle arms, warrior two with eagle arms. And then humble warrior with eagle arms. So we're encouraging that right shoulder inside the right knee. And if you're super flexible, you might stay instead up a little higher and push the shoulder into the knee and push the inner knee into the shoulder. And when I say push, I mean not force, right? Just a gentle strengthening, a gathering, a fortification, not a force. If you feel like you're already pretty strong in the hips, you might imagine letting go of some of that and bringing your head closer to the floor, just letting go of some of it, you know. And when you're ready, my friends, take a deep breath in, long breath out. Release your hands, frame your front foot. You're coming to plank and onto your left side for side plank, where you might stay or bring the top foot into tree. And try to find that connection there with the whole foot if you can on either the inner thigh or the shin. And draw the ribs in. You might release the shape, or you might tree chaturanga, tree-legged chaturanga, tree-legged up dog, and then down dog with all fours. And a few breaths there. Walker hop to the top. Halfway lift, inhale. Forward fold, exhale. Chair pose, inhale. And breathing, we're feeling the stability in chair, feeling the weight coming back. Inhale here. Fold forward over your legs. Halfway lift, inhale. Down dog your way. So that might be chaturanga, up dog. Maybe you just step back. You could hold plank. What feels useful? Now this can be done with your knee down from side plank or with your knee up in side plank, okay? Shift forward into plank. Come onto your right side. So you might have your right knee down for side plank, or you might have the leg lifted. I will invite you to lift that top leg up and step it all the way forward to crescent lunge. So there's a lot, yes, a lot of stability being requested of the arm shoulder joint. Yeah. Great. Arms open to either side. Right arm under, right leg over, eagle pose. We're going to stay upright this time. And then release your arms, tree pose. So that right leg foot comes into tree, arms reach up overhead if they can. Yeah. And then the right hand grabs the right thigh if it can, lean to the right, left arm reaches across the body. Great. And then come back to center and see if you can bring your hands behind your back in a fist bump behind the heart, or Anjali Mudra, namaste hands, prayer hands. Yeah. And so it might not be behind your heart, it might be behind your mid to low back, and that's okay. We'll lift that right knee up and step the foot back about 3 feet. Both legs are straight. We're coming to pyramid pose. Yeah. So you might be wide on train tracks versus tightrope. Draw the left hip back. Encourage the heart forward. So imagine your fists here or your palms are pushing the bottom of the shoulder blades in and up. Heart lifts up. And with that flat back, start to hinge forward at the hips. Come forward as much as you can, still feeling like you have a relatively flat back. And when you feel the back start to round, you might pause there and just allow the head to move toward your shin. We're still drawing that left hip back. Now come halfway up here. Release your hands. Bring your right hand down and your left arm up, revolved triangle. So if you have a block, you can use that. You could touch your shin. You could keep your hands somewhat suspended. A block could be to the inside of the foot or the outside. Great. A couple breaths here. Level hips as much as possible. And then reach both arms out to either side. Lift that right leg up, airplane. Bring the outer right hip down. Bring the right palm down, left arm up, revolved half moon. Maybe you touch a block, maybe your hands are suspended. See what works. Great, my dears. Feet together, forward, fold over your legs. 5 breaths. If you'd like to interlace your fingers behind your back, do so, or any other hand position. Anyone watching this video later can thank Spencer for this flow. And Nikki, it's both their faults. Yeah. All right, chair pose. Fold forward over your legs. Halfway lift, inhale. Plank. And we'll shift onto the left side, side plank. So maybe your left knee is down and you lift your right leg up, or maybe the leg is up. Either way, we're going to pause here, try to fortify the shoulder, the left shoulder joint. Nice, Kanti, so I can see it coming down away from your ear a little bit. We'll try to step that foot all the way forward for crescent lunge. Awesome, arms out to either side. Left arm under, left leg over for eagle pose. Staying upright in this eagle. And then we'll fly up and land in a tree. So left leg goes to tree, arms reach up overhead, and then maybe the left hand touches the left thigh and the right arm reaches over, and we're opening that right side body. Great. And then we'll come back to center, and we'll bring the hands behind the heart, or it might be more like the mid-back in a fist bump or Anjali Mudra. Your left leg lifts up, the knee lifts. Step the foot back, land it down. You're kind of on train tracks versus a tightrope. For pyramid pose, start by drawing the right outer hip back, the left hip forward, and pushing into the back so that you feel your shoulder blades come in and the sternum lifts up. And both feet are strong on the earth. Come forward a little. Keep drawing the right hip back as you do. Great. And so as soon as the back begins to feel like it's going to round, you might stay there and bow the head. And continue to draw the right hip back as best we can. And stay here in pyramid pose for a few breaths. Great. Keep your feet, release your arms out to either side, come halfway up, and then the left arm is going to come down, right arm up for revolved triangle. Revolved triangle. So you could have a block inside or outside your foot, or you could touch your shin. Leveling the hips as much as possible. That was really good. Yeah, really good. Drawing the right hip back, shoulders stack as much as possible. Still feeling rooted through the back foot. Great. Arms go out to either side, lifting the back leg airplane. Revolved half moon. So again, left arm down, maybe to a block or a couch or something you could touch, and then right arm up. Forward fold, forward fold. All right, last one, chair pose. What if you took your right ankle on your left knee, figure 4? And so if you're, again, pretty flexible in the hips, if you feel like your SI joints are unstable, stay here. Yeah, make it more about strength. Some of you that feel like you could use some stretch to your hips might forward fold over this leg in this shape. Yeah, so you can still have the left knee bending. You could touch a block. You could touch the earth. Some of you might take that fancy arm balance here where you're creating a shelf with your elbows for that right leg. So it's flying crow. Wherever you are, it's just right. What do you need? Strength, flexibility, a practice of playing with your fear, with the arm balance. What's useful? Great. Come back up if you can. And release your feet. You might do a little shake. You might do a little dance. All right, chair pose. Left ankle, right knee, figure 4. And squatting down. And again, if your hips need the strength, stay. If your hips need the stretch, you could fold forward. If you're not sure and you want to play with, meeting a challenge or fear, you might do the arm balance, flying crow, creating a shelf with that left shin and your elbows, hooking your foot on your right elbow. Let's see, what feels useful? What's encouraging to your system today? Yeah. And coming back up, release the foot. You might shake a little bit. Inhale, reach your arms up. Exhale, fold forward over your legs. Inhale, halfway lift. Down dog your way. And then, my dears, you're going to walk or hop to a seat. And as you walk or hop to your seat, we'll come down onto our back. Draw your knees into your chest and do a few knee circles one direction. And then a few knee circles the other direction. And then the invitation is either shoulder stand or placing a block under your sacrum and lifting your legs up to the sky, or legs up the wall. We're going to hold this position for a while now. So being in something you can stay with. And of course, if you get to something you think you can stay with and you feel like you really can't stay safely there, change positions. The idea of holding shoulder stands of Krita Karani or legs up the wall now is to think about all the energy of this balancing, twisting practice. You know? So for me, twists create a lot of heat. Holding poses like forearm plank create a lot of heat, a lot of energy. They're fiery practices. And all the balance stuff, like balancing, is often where in my practice I can feel agitation. I can feel agitation if I'm not steady, you know? And so it's a really good opportunity to practice standing stable and strong when we feel agitated, yeah? Grounding ourselves when we feel agitating. Remember our breath when we feel agitated. That's really useful, I find often that. Remembering to breathe. Remembering that everything might feel unsteady, but we can root, we can remember that we have this body, we have this breath, we have practices that can help us. You know, it doesn't always work, but when it does, that's a gift. And so that practice, for me, I know if I was doing that practice would have felt agitating. Lots of balance poses, lots of twists, you know, and the ability to breathe and be stable through agitation. And then this pose is trying to settle. This pose, so again, being in a pose where you can actually hold it. This pose is trying to settle that energy back in, bring it back in, nourish yourself with the energy that you've risen and created and cultivated in this practice. Could that energy now come and heal you where you need healing? So maybe you think about where you could be healed in your mind or in your heart or in your body. And just let your breath be calm, effortless even. So you know there's shoulder stand, there's plow, there's embryo pose, there's all these things where there's a block under the sacrum and legs up to the sky. Whenever you're ready, you could do supported fish or fish pose, or just roll down or remove the block and come to Shavasana, corpse pose. If your legs up the wall, you might stay there for your Shavasana today, yeah? Allowing yourself to feel supported and held. And could you, as you come to Shavasana, feel held in a way that still feels liberating? Could you feel like gravity is holding you like a warm, tender hug? That the earth is holding you like a mama would hold her baby with a sense of awe and love and amazement. sense of witness to what you are becoming. These bodies of ours are gifts, deep privilege to have a body that can move and express. And body so intelligent that it heals you all the time. It's so efficient at that. We don't even really notice until there's something that comes into our awareness that needs healing. But the body is working that in magic and intelligence all the time. For a moment, you might thank your body. And feel gratitude. Remember the gift of this life and all its complexities. And when you're ready, making your way back to a seat. And as you come to an upright position, just feeling all the things, your connection to earth, your connection to sky, your connection to your own truth. And we'll bring our palms to our heart in any shape that feels potent today. When we share these practices, even if they bring up agitation, frustration, any of those things, and we steady ourselves in the poses, we get curious, we notice what's happening, we breathe. It's one way that we train ourselves to create just a little bit more peace in our own nervous system, a little more settledness in our mind and in our body. And in that way, we can be better advocates of creating peace in the world from a truly settled place. In that spirit of peace, we say Shanti, Shalom, Salam, Amani, Maluhia, Irini, Shiakan, Jam, Pache, Paz. In the spirit of our collective liberation, we say Aho, Ashe, Amin, Amen, blessed be. Kapu Aloha, in Lakach, Satnam, Namaste, Black Lives Matter.